Hey, what's up, you ILUS Army, ILUS family and moneymakers? Welcome back to the channel. I bring a ton of information about ticker symbol ILUS over to you, bullish and bearish. Today, I'm going to review and analyze this particular article from Gold Panda on Seeking Alpha, who is pretty bearish about the stock. Pointed out some of the red flags that is keep piling up, and I'm still bearish with this article. This was listed, or this was published on December 7th. Remember, on this channel we do analysis pretty independently. These are my personal opinion and thoughts. I'm reviewing and reacting to this article. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm going to go through each of this bullet one by one. We'll look further into details. I'll share my analysis. I'll share the research that I have done, and you can make the decision. Now, ILUS has done tremendously. We have seen that ILUS went from 5 cents, 6 cents, 7 cents to 51 cents, which is 10x return in 2021. I strongly believe personally, and this is not a financial advice, but I believe for myself that ILUS still has a 10x fuel into it in 2022 because some of the catalysts that are coming up for ILUS, some of the acquisition, and we saw a ton of potential in terms of the revenue model that ILUS is moving forward with. Definitely there are going to be some red flags, and we should also review that. So this will be my article, or this will be my video reviewing this article, reacting onto what Gold Panda is talking about, and we'll just review it together, and I'll let you decide what you want to decide. Now, without further delay, I want to get into the article right away, but be sure you hit the like button and subscribe button and help and support the channel. If you hit the like button, this analysis and research can reach to more and more people. We'll be able to share some of our thoughts with the further community. If by just clicking the like button, this video can be reached to more and more people. So hit that like, subscribe, and let's get into it. Revisiting ILUS International. By the way, let's take a look real quick what ILUS is doing today. 29 cents, we are down 1% in last 5 days. We are down, or we are up rather 3%. 1 month we're down 31%. 6 months we're up 3x, which means if someone bought this stock at 4 cents, we saw such a massive run up, 1025%, which is 10x return on your investment. $1,000 turns into $10,000 for someone who sold it at that price point. Once again, there is an opportunity to buy at 29 cents. Now, let's take a look what ILUS is up to. So what this article talks about, revisiting ILUS International, red flags keep piling up, and I'm still bearish. Gold Panda. Now, this particular author has been pretty constructive about ILUS historically, and I like to see both the sides of the coins so I can make for myself informed financial decision. Now, whenever some red flags are there, that does mean that the company needs to be careful, but at the same time, if they overcome those red flags, that becomes catalyst and opportunity to invest in the stock. So at that time, if this time someone is bearish, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a great buying opportunity. And this is not a financial advice. I'm just talking for myself. So do your own due diligence, research. I'm not a financial advisor, and you only want to invest the money that you're willing to lose, because OTC penny stocks are pretty risky. Risk versus reward. You can 10x your return, or you can lose half of your investment, 50, 60, 70%. So do your own due diligence and before you buy or sell. Now, based on this article, the company booked 3.13 million in revenue in Q3, but the net profit declined to 0.39 million. Now, let's take a look real quick right here what it looks like. Now, this Q3 result, and this is the tweet that came from ILUS. And once again, remember that this is an OTC traded company, so we may not have a ton of accurate information, or there might be some data delayed. That's why I'm taking a look at this Q3 on the Twitter account so we can get some of the latest and greatest information, because this was posted by ILUS itself. Take a look, 509,000 Q1 revenue, Q2 2.86 million, 3.13 million in Q3 revenue. That's what this author talking about, with the profit of $881,000. So yes, according to this article, I agree that the profit declined based on what we see here. Now, you want to remember that as you go on the chart, you may have more operational overheads, one-time setup costs, so on and so forth, and that may result into lower profit. If you take a look at the profit, when they had $500,000, their profit was $73,000. Now, when they were 2.86 million, their profit was $992,000. When they increased their revenue 3.13, their profit actually decreased $881,000 in profit. What you want to though consider is $6.5 million year-to-date revenue, and this is one of the metric that I consider for myself as well. Year-to-date revenue is 6.5 million with the gross profit of almost 2 million or 1.94 million. This is a gross profit. I agree that the margin went down a little bit in Q3, but overall it looks a pretty healthy situation. With the asset especially, they have $26.9 million in asset. They have total revenue of 6.5 million and gross profit is 1.9 million. I think we'll be able to figure out in the long horizon instead of just looking into one time profit. I mean, the good thing is they did not book negative net profit as you see, or negative gross profit as you see for the year to date, which is outstanding. I haven't seen many OTC companies booking profit as fast as ILUS did. This, in my opinion, is one of a kind. Yes, there are some red flags, and ILUS is working on that, and they're very well aware, and I'll go through that as well. I find concerning that ILUS sold 2.5 million Series F preferred shares that can be converted into common shares at valued 104.3 million. ILUS finishes September with only $34 million in cash. Now, let's take a look what exactly happened in this. Now, this preferred stock, and I'll cover that in more detail, but let's go through this first. ILUS finished September with 0.34 million in cash, which raises concern about funding and several planned acquisitions as well. One of the planned deals supposedly involves government EU manufacturing company with 9-figure revenue. I still think it looks like a sell, and short borrow fee stands at below 4.56%. Now, if you think about in general, now this particular company's Q3 financial we already talked about. I want to particularly talk about this Q3 financial with 3.13 million and higher profit. We already talked about that. Q3 was close to $4 million in revenue, which is once again a great quarter. It was a good quarter in terms of the revenue growth, but the margin went down quarter on quarter, which is going to be the case as you expand. There will be thinner margin, that way you can expand more. Now, my idea is if ILUS becomes $100 million company, what will be the average revenue? Do you want to be a $10 million company at 5, 7, 10% of your gross profit? That will be $1 million in profit. Or you want to become a $100 million company where your profit margin is 7%, which will bring in $7 million in all profit. So in other words, if you're a $10 million company, you made $1 million. When you were a $100 million company, you made $7 million. Now, there will be additional cost, additional hiring, there will be payroll running, there will be other companies running, employees running, facilities running. So that will add up. But my idea and my thought here is as you expand, you'll have to spend more, but once you stabilize, that $100 million company can easily generate profit at higher margin. It could be 15 million, 20 million, 25 million. But if you only have $10 million in revenue as an example, you can never get profit of $25 million. And these are my personal thoughts, by the way. It has nothing to do with what this author is thinking, but I'm just sharing my thoughts and opinion. Overall latest financial result as mixed because ILUS International remains a small company in terms of the revenue. I 100% agree with this view because ILUS at the moment is a small company, which makes me think that is the biggest catalyst. Because right now, as you know, ILUS has booked $6.5 million in revenue. Now, if they can do $100 million in revenue, it's beyond 10x just in revenue. It'll be beyond 10x in profitability as well. It'll be beyond 10x in terms of what the company will bring home for their investors and shareholders. So I do see this as a very positive thing. That company is very small at this point, and we know about the company. Looking at the cash flow, net cash provided by the operating activity was negative. The company got 0.34 million in financial activities, finishing September with the cash position of 0.34 million. I think I agree with that price point as well. Now, what they are in addition to this particular author is talking about this 2.5 million Series F preferred shares that company had below the price of 0.08 a piece. Now, I was not able to find out a ton of information on this on the SEC's website. I took a look right here, but I wasn't able to find it because being an OTC stock, they may not have to file a ton of documentation or they're not widely available. I also looked into the OTC market website right here on OTC markets, and I was not able to find a ton of information into their security details as well. But if you can find this, write down in the comment section below so we can review that all together. But if you go back in September, I was able to see the price point within the same range. So we are looking into October, we are 7 to 8 cents. August, we are 7 to 8 cents. In September, we are still close to 10-11 cents. So there might be a possibility that they were working on something in August when the price point was close to 8 or 9 or 10 cents, and they closed that and filed that paperwork in September. So I do not have a ton of information, but this is something that ILUS is also working on. And this particular chart talks about 1.5 million, 2.5 million new issue that happened right before October, so mid-September-ish or at the end of the September. So we'll see as they come across more and more and more. But preferred shares are converted into the dividend with 6% dividend and redeemable $1 per value share, which would be a total of 31 billion common shares, as you see, outstanding, as you see right here. Now, ILUS has repeatedly told us that they're working on their share structure or share restructuring. Take a look right here. ILUS International provides an update on share restructure, share or reorganization, and uplisting plan on NASDAQ. Now, when this happens, what company wants to do is they want to have their outstanding share structure of well below $1 billion just in the first phase. Now, what is going on right now? As we already know, right now they have they have 2 billion in authorized shares and they have more than 1.2 billion in outstanding shares. What company wants to do based on this article is company wants to have that outstanding shares, which is 1.2 billion plus, below $1 billion mark, 1 billion share mark in the first phase. In the recent share structure update letter was sent on 16th of July by their CEO that clarified that there are several parties with multiple moving parts involved. Reorganization, that means significant amount of work, which is not going to be straightforward and simple, complex in nature. They'll have to do a ton of paperwork, making sure that they share transparency with their current and outstanding shareholders as well. So that will take time. So I agree with what they're trying to do and how they're trying to do, but this is definitely area of improvement or area for opportunities for ILUS as a company, for their executive management team, and we'll be able to see what happens next. But their asset, I agree that with the asset part as well, their asset was 3.7 million that grew to 26.9 million dollars, and with that liability that also includes total liability and equity went to 26.9 million from 3.7 million as well. Now, if you think about the NASDAQ, now this particular article also talks about the major catalyst seems to be the 9-figure revenue business, which ILUS says it's known by many as the astronomical EU deal. The idea that is unknown to the company that providing this particular details. Now, ILUS shared just last week, and this article was on 7th of December. ILUS shared last week further details about astronomical EU deal that involves $8 million in revenue in 2022. So I think this concern has been addressed already. Now, investors takeaway, I view ILUS as a small company. I 100% agree with that. That's why I think personally I'm interested in this company as to how the company is going to do in future. That's why it has 10x potential. If it was a giant company, that would have been probably listed on NASDAQ, and that might not be 10x, 20x, 30x return on the investment, what we have been experiencing from the past in 2021. So I agree with that. They had barely about $3.3 million in quarterly sales, with total asset of $26.9 million in Q3 Q3 2021, and which is where once again I believe that the company has growing opportunity if they do the right thing moving forward in 2022. It has notable merger and acquisition plan, but I don't see how they can finance them without the significant stock dilution. Now this is something different. What company is trying to do is they're not trying to dilute more stocks as they grow. We still need to see how the company restructures their shares and what they want to do. But I do believe that at the moment, stock dilution, there is no news or there is no signals or there are no pointers around the stock dilution. So you want to be careful about the stock dilution. Understanding by this author, they're concerned about the 8 cents a piece share in September, but we saw that that was the price point in September. Now ILUS grew a ton, as I just mentioned, so that was the price, and if this was targeted and executed at 8 cents, I am not sure that this is not this might be the right thing for ILUS at that point. So I don't really want to comment on that. It looks like a sell investors and short sellers are taking advantage. Yes, we saw the higher short volume by the short sellers back in the days, but right now it is looking pretty okay. If you take a look, the FINRA volume 6.5 million, 7.2 million with the short volume of 2.4, which puts them to a little bit above 35 or mid 30s, 33.66, 37.55. Which is not a huge short volume ratio compared to what we have seen for ILUS back in the days. We saw that in 50s and 60s, and even though there were huge short volume, we were able to go all the way up to 51 cents. So I don't necessarily think it's a negative. What I do think though that could help ILUS is we saw that when ILUS had more than 10 million in revenue or more than 20 million in revenue, take a look, December 22nd, 35 million, 29 million, so on and so forth. We saw pretty good price movement. So if more volume is there for ILUS, it is only going to help them. We saw that there was huge volume in the past as well. Take a look right here. In October, we were consistently about 10 to 20 million in total trading volume, which dropped come October and November, and since then we started seeing the price also went down south. And this is not just ILUS but the entire OTC penny stock community. So I'm not super worried and concerned about that at this point. Now all in all, what the Gold Panda thinks is, let's take a look. Overall, I continue to think that it's a sell and investors can take advantage by short selling the shares. I think I disagree with this part that one should not, at least I'm for myself, I can speak for myself. I'm not going to short sell and make money out of short sell. A stock has a ton of catalysts. They're investing in companies left and right. Take a look right here. What they're trying to do is their outstanding shares, they want to get below 2 billion, 1 billion mark. And take a look at what ILUS is doing. Left and right acquisitions, a ton of catalysts coming up. Company is pretty much aware of what exactly they're doing. They're working with the Southeastern Europe, and this article came down, or this PR came after this December 7th. December 16th, they announced that they're going to bring in $8 million in revenue. Take a look right here with 150 jobs in 2022. So they're working on their acquisitions. Not only that, they're also working with an Asian acquisition company which will bring in more than $30 million year over year in revenue. So that is going to be exciting as well. Take a look what more ILUS is trying to do is they want to perform even better quarter over quarter, and they're super laser focused. And in my opinion, I do believe that if they have more volume, they're going to do pretty well in terms of the stock price for the shareholders. They have been doing a pretty good job of keeping us posted. More than 16,000 followers on their Twitter handle. All in all, makes me think that yes, a person on this Gold Panda is bearish, but in my opinion, I am still bullish. I still believe that ILUS has a potential to do 10x, and I'm not going to sell or short sell this stock for myself. And what the author thinks that I can think of two major risks with the bear case. First, I could be wrong about the EU deal. I could be wrong about the significant manufacturing capability at the low price. But in this situation, ILUS is taking the whole cycle of the product, starting from manufacturing, getting to support and supply, and selling process as well. So they will manufacture something, they'll also support that, and they will support the supply chain management, of course, and the delivery of the equipments, and they'll also support the safety aspect, the way that they are changing the game, and also they will manage their own sales force and sales process. They view Furthermore, we're likely to see in a couple of weeks. Second, I view this stock as a meme stock. I do not 100% agree with that. It's a mixed. There is a strong community, but there's a strong fundamentals as well. It's not like some people are betting on a stock that has no business. I think people are betting on a stock that has a super good business, exponential potential in upcoming future due to the significant investor interest. Yes, having significant investor interest is a positive in my opinion. It's a catalyst as well. As the share price movements, this kind of stock could be erratic. We'll see what the future holds. I do not have crystal ball. I have numbers that I'm looking into. We have multiple times see that. And stocks will do ups and down. It won't be always in the parabolic direction. Take a look what happened when we were in parabolic direction. We did 10x. I mean, I do believe that there will be another parabolic movement. It's possible when it announces something that they want to list on NASDAQ, or they're doing something around their share restructuring, so on and so forth. This video is a little bit longer, but hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.